there has been a lesser spotted large monster, and that is, of course, Tech Up Dave. No, the Loch Ness Monster. Sorry. I know. Well, since the demise of Cat of the Week, Dave,
yes.
We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, but you have still been loyally tech-upping the show, and well done again on Cat of the Week and all the work you put into it.
Thank you.
Of course, you'll be, I'm sure you've been supping your cappuccinos out of your limited edition Cardi P mug.
I have. It's very sought after.
Well, that's it. I mean,
people have asked about where the Tech Up Dave one is, though.
Oh, have they? Have they? You just referred to yourself in the third person. That's always worrying. Cardi P would never do that.
No.
Okay, right. Apparently there are compelling images as to where the Loch Ness Monster is, and I wanted to talk to Tech Up Dave about this, because if there's anyone who can track down the Loch Ness Monster, it's him. If you're watching on TalkTV, you can see the quote-unquote compelling images. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they're not that compelling. What do you think, Dave?
Well, this comes back to about 4 or 5 years ago, when Chai Kelly took some photographs in 2018. She was at the loch taking photos and videos of her husband and her daughter, and suddenly noticed this thing appear on the water. She was feared. She didn't want to release them because she thought people are just going to
People will think I've
gone completely mad.
Yes.
But she released them when they were doing a big 50-year Nessie hunt.
Right.
It's
yes.
madness. And, so she said that about 200 metres from shore, moving from left to right at a steady speed, was this creature. It was spinning and rolling at times. We never saw a head or neck, and after a couple of minutes it just disappeared and we never saw it again.
Dawn has been in touch already on text to say the Loch Ness Monster is just like all the big cats that are photographed. There's no definitive evidence is produced. Black leopards are very rare in the British countryside. I actually once said on air that I thought there were wolves in Britain. There apparently aren't any wolves on the loose. I have a particular friend who keeps me going about this as often as she can,
yes.
Mentioning that I thought there were wolves. There aren't. I mean, Dave, are you convinced?
Well, there have been 10 sightings last year.
10 sightings
which
of the
makes
alleged
the total,
sightings.
And makes the total 1,156. And the first sighting
yes.
goes back to the early 7th century.
Right.
When a Irish monk who was staying with some companions went over to the loch and
right.
found these guys trying to bury a man that had been swimming in the river when he was attacked by a water beast that mauled him and dragged him underwater. And despite their attempts to rescue him,
I mean, this is nonsense. I'm sorry. I mean, we're now have people basically saying that the Loch Ness Monster is 1,300 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's another generation.
It could be sort of great grandson of Nessie or something.
Yeah.
There's another story that caught my eye this week. We'll move on from the fictional Loch Ness Monster, which actually did happen, and this was the adorable moment that bears. This was sent in to me by a viewer, by Natasha, who said that there were bears enjoying a ride on a pedaloo in a safari park.
Yes, this was at Woburn Safari Park in Bedfordshire. In this large enclosure where they keep the bears. We've had quite a lot of rain recently, you may have noticed, and part of it flooded.
Right.
So the keepers thought, for a bit of a giggle, they'd put a pedalo in next to this large flooded lake that had formed.
Right.
And wondered what was going to happen.
So this was a swan sort of...
It was a swan
format,
which
kind
you
of
normally sort of see.
Pedalo with a sort of swan head. So this was, the bears were soon swarming around.
Yes, they were. One by one, they came along to investigate.
Brilliant.
And within a few minutes, all 4 seats were taken, and this thing was floating in the middle of the pond.
Brilliant.
Genius.
Swan, but not forgotten.
No.
Much like Tech Up Dave. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you again before too long. That was Tech Up Dave. Bring us up to date on some of the crazy stories that have been happening. And thank you to Mary in County Down, who has been in touch on electric vehicles and says white van man won't buy an electric van as the range isn't good enough and they don't have the time to sit waiting for a charge station. Time is money for tradespeople. Very good point. Self-employed and small business owners who fuel a large chunk of the economy. In fact, 99% of the economy is small and medium-sized businesses. Dave, you have some thoughts on electric cars? cars as well.
Yes, well, it was just a quick one, really. I know the post office are trading in a lot of their vans, and they've got loads of electric vans.
So they have electric vans, but actually, and time is money for them as well, because they need people to deliver. Mary actually continues in her message. I know a major local dealership with a large stock of unsold and unsellable electric vans. You just made the point about electric vans in the post office there, Royal Mail. An engineer friend, Mary says, often drive several hundred miles a day, usually racing from customer to customer. Electric vehicles are no use to him or most other tradespeople. I mean, that is fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair enough. But, I mean, I have seen there are quite a lot of electric vans. A lot of the courier companies are now using them as well. So
yeah, a lot of taxis are electric vehicles as well, apparently. Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Dave.
Talk TV's Common Sense Weekend just got remixed. We've added twice as much Cardi P to your TV. Yes, your Sundays now come with added Peter Cardwell, exclusive interviews, the latest news, and of course, your views. That's Peter Cardwell, every Saturday and now every Sunday, 10 till 1 on Talk TV. If you're thinking about it, we're talking about it.
Very good morning to you.
Thanks for joining us. The home of big opinions.
Oh, don't start me on that.
Straight talking.
There's a sort of feeling they ought to look as if they're doing something.
And no nonsense.
So don't accuse anyone else of stoking culture wars.
Is going digital.
Such as the smoke and mirrors of politics.
Make sure you're ready.
But the government has got to be more flexible.
From the end of April, listen to Talk on radio via DAB or your smart speaker. Or watch live on YouTube on your connected TV.